It's a simple enough question, really. Which of the three paintings I'm going to show you is actually upside down? I'll give you the answer at the end of the video. Is it Jackson Pollock's Convergence? Or could it be Mark Rothko and Black on Maroon? Or perhaps Tableau number 2, Composition number 7 by Mondrian. Now, when we think of art, we usually think of works of astonishing beauty, a Pieta, or a girl with a pearl earring, or perhaps The Night Watch. Works were produced which opened our eyes, provoked thought, deepened our understanding of our world and ourselves, and inspired us as human beings. From the cave paintings of 30,000 years ago on, art has made us wonder. Now this was not easy. Artists such as Rembrandt, Vermeer, Michelangelo, they achieved their impact by demanding of themselves rigorous artistic discipline in order to reach the highest standards of excellence possible. They constantly strove to improve on their own works as well as the masters who had gone before them. Today, it's different. The great masters wished to produce work which inspired. They wished to create the profound and the beautiful. Today, artists struggle to produce the shocking, the new, the silly, the offensive. Michelangelo painstakingly carved his David out of a block of solid marble. Carl Andre offers us equivalent 8, a rectangle of bricks. Now, as soon as we begin to critique modern art and modern artists, we are inevitably met with the cry of, what about the Impressionists? And it's true, the Impressionists are incredibly popular. Exhibitions of their works produce queues in the streets around galleries. And yet, in their own day, they were dismissed. Yeah, in their own day they deliberately took on the art establishment in the shape of the Académie des Beaux-Arts, and they were shown the door. The argument runs that all avant-garde artistic movements are rejected by the establishment, but eventually come to be embraced by the people who love them. Yeah, the once avant-garde impressionists did buck the establishment, but today the avant-garde are the establishment. The gallery directors, influential critics, government-funded art bodies, they are the ones who champion shock value art. Who else would pay more than $58 million for Balloon Dog Orange by Jeff Koons? Who else would pay $48 million for Dust Heads by Basquiat? Such is the influence of the art establishment that we are left with the impression that if you don't get modern art, the fault lies with you. You just aren't thinking deeply enough, or you're emotionally blind. You see, one of the great social functions of modern art is to create a division between those with the intellectual ability and taste to value such art and the simpletons who just don't have the intellect to grasp what it's all about. This is art which enables one group to look down upon another group. It is art for the condescending. And yet, does the emperor actually have any clothes? Mark Rothko said of this painting, I'm interested only in expressing basic human emotions, tragedy, ecstasy, doom and so on. And the fact that lots of people break down and cry when confronted with my pictures shows that I communicate those basic human emotions. The people who weep before my pictures are having the same religious experience I had when I painted them. And if you, as you say, are moved only by their colour relationships, then you miss the point. Incredible. Emotion is what matters. And if you're not moved by the composition, you're just an unfeeling fickle. And if you're actually moved by it for the wrong reasons, well, you're still pretty much a stupid fickle. However much we may like Monet, Renoir, etc., we can see that with the Impressionists, an artistic revolution began. We find aesthetic relativism, of the idea that beauty is only in the eye of the beholder. Most artistic revolutions begin with works of unquestioned merit. When we look at Degas, we see a continuation of the highest standards of design and execution. Unfortunately, following the Impressionists and every succeeding generation, artistic standards declined. All that matters now is personal expression. And when the chief aim is emotional response, the chief criteria is no longer artistic merit, but shock value. The first of the new movements was Dada, which, at least at humour, it came about as an anti-art movement, attempting to break the existing rules and overthrow aesthetic standards. Thus we find pranks, ready-mades and found objects entering the galleries. Duchamp's fountain tells us clearly what he thinks of art and what you can do with it. Art today is not concerned with exploring the transcendent, but with making statements, often statements for shock value. Artists of the past also made statements. David's Death of Marat makes a statement in favour of David's side in the French Revolution. Goya's 3rd of May 1808 in Madrid makes a statement, a profound one, about the brutality of Napoleonic and thus all dictatorship. The great difference between these statements and today's is that David and Goya never sacrificed their artistic integrity and skill to make their point. Now, good boxers win fights, good plumbers fix leaks, good cooks produce delicious food. How do we know what is good art? Can we know what is good art? In 1964, the great art historian Jacob Rosenberg wrote that artistic value or quality in a work of art is not merely a matter of personal opinion, but to a high degree objectively traceable. The idea that an objectively traceable, objective standard of quality in art is today greeted with scorn and derision. We're told that a universal standard cannot be achieved. Not possible. Because you cannot be objective about meaning. Or so today's aesthetic relativists tell us. But compare and contrast for yourself. Botticelli and the Birth of Venus. And Chrysophiles' Holy Virgin Mary, complete with pornographic images and encrusted with dung. Or Michelangelo's Pieta. And Simon Starling's Shed Boat Shed, in which an old wooden shed was broken down, rebuilt into a boat, then rebuilt into a shed. In Olympic diving competitions, the judges make decisions based on their expertise and their knowledge of the activity. Imagine their reaction if a diver threw himself off the top board, belly flop, and then demanded that his dive be accepted as his interpretation, and that it was just as worthy as the dive of the 10-metre gold medal winner Chen Asem. If there are no artistic standards, we have no way to determine whether a work of art is any good or not, other, that is, than our pure emotional reactions. As Andy Warhol said, art is whatever you can get away with. And those 3 pictures at the beginning? Actually, none of them were upside down, as if that made the slightest difference at all.